Good evening. First of all, let me thank the Rian team for giving me this opportunity to talk to you. Sensei Hari Damle had given an excellent presentation exactly 1 week ago. So I will avoid repeating the topics on which he has dwelt in detail. So let's have a look at the language services scene in Pune as of today. Here are 7 scenarios. A German pharmaceutical company has a brochure for its new drug in German, and it needs it translated into 16 Indian languages within the next 15 days. And their requirements are it should be done accurately using appropriate words in the local language, and it should be easily understood by the users. Then there is a French film which is to be exhibited in a film festival in Pune. They require subtitles in English and Marathi in the next 10 days. So their requirements are properly translating the context of the original dialogues. It should be in a simple language. You should not miss out anything. And the frames should be aligned properly with the original dialogues. Then there is a factory expecting some Korean visitors this Friday, and they need Korean English Marathi interpreter. Then another factory wants to export their product to Russia. They need a brochure in simple Russian language within a week, which is to be written in precise technical terms and simple enough for the consumer to understand. Then some famous surgeons in Sweden have developed a revolutionary method of brain surgery, and they have published a paper in Swedish language on it. So here people need an English translation of this paper for training surgeons in Pune. They can't naturally afford any technical errors, and they require it within 5 days. Then a student wants to learn Dutch language and get internationally acclaimed certification. And a freelance translator wants to buy a CAT tool. Which of the software available in the market would be best suited? So you saw 7 examples of language service requirements. If we go through the facts, all of these are different languages. The skills are different. The time limits are different. Each of it requires technical accuracy and use of most appropriate words. In each of these assignments, the stress is on technical accuracy, use of the most appropriate words, and simplicity. Now, as of today in Pune, unfortunately, only ALP, or Association of Language Professionals, is the platform which can locate a suitable person for these requirements and make this person available of this requirement. But right now, very few people are really associated with ALP, and the same is true about the clients. So we need a bigger platform. There are some websites or FB pages available, but they are mainly for translation assignments. So they are really of no use for other language professionals or the consumers. For example, teachers, students, scriptwriters, copywriters. For example, teachers, they are in different areas of Pune, and students are in different areas. So again, this platform is going to be very important. Now, if we today distribute language services, I have distributed them in 4 categories. One is translations and interpretations. Localization is also included. Then second is creative writing, in which comes writing of books, writing of scripts, blog writing, and so on. Then there is teaching, which is obvious for different languages. And then there is a huge requirement for media, like all the information media, all the news media. Then there is a requirement for films or dramas, and there is a requirement for subtitles. Now, of course, we will stick to translations and interpretations mainly. Now, translations, I have again distributed in various categories, like technical, legal, business, ads and promotes, general, medical, pharmaceutical, literature, and life sciences. Of course, if we decide, there can be many more categories, but I have done the basic thing. Now, I am going to talk in detail on some of these. So let's begin with technical translations. In technical translations, you can have subdomains like engineering, where mechanical or electrical or even civil engineering comes. Then auto is a special domain because Pune is today an auto hub of India. Then there is IT. And the assignments can be brochures, user manuals, protocols, instructions, training manuals, technical articles. So all these will require to be translated from German to Marathi, German to English, or Chinese to English, Chinese to Marathi, and so on, from various languages to Indian language or English. Now, what is the difference between technical translations and those in general domains? So if we take the example of literal translations, there you have to understand the mood or feeling of the original text and transfer it to the target language using appropriate words of your choice. So naturally, two different translators will have a different perception of the original text. They may have different meaning. They will find different meanings in the original text. So there is a big possibility that they will have their two different own versions. However, in technical translations, each term, each word, each sentence will have a unique meaning. So you have to understand that meaning very clearly and translate it accurately using the most appropriate term in the target language. So naturally, two different translators should have the same version. Otherwise, something is wrong. So what are the prerequisites of technical translations? Last week, Sensei Hari Damle had explained to you what is the source language and what is the target language. He had stressed, and I again stress, that you need to have an excellent command over source as well as the target language, not only on one language. And secondly, you need to have experience and knowledge of the domain and the subject. It is a must. If not, how things can go wrong, I will demonstrate in a moment. Now, here is an example. This is a real life example. I have seen this happening. That there was a requirement that there was some translation required about a tractor. The original sentence was, "This tractor has a good ground clearance." This is what a non-technical translator translated. "हा tractor जमिनीची चांगली सफाई करतो." He is not wrong. If you translate it verbatim, it is true that जमिनीची चांगली सफाई करतो. But that is not the fact. A technical translator naturally translated, या ट्रॅक्टरच्या चासीची जमिनीपासूनची उंची चांगली आहे, which is actually the what the client meant. So as you can see, if you don't have domain knowledge, things can go wrong in this fashion, and this can have serious consequences. I am a German expert, so I will say a few words about German to English technical translations. But I understand the same scenario can be true for Russian to English or maybe Chinese to English. So German language has its own technical terminology. English words are seldom used. Some of these words have alternate meanings in colloquial language. I will demonstrate it further. Then there are German composita. These are really long words, just like we have sandhis in Sanskrit. So a person should know where to divide that composita so that he will arrive at the correct meaning. So again, a core knowledge of the domain is a must. Then German sentences. Now German language is very strong on dative. So sequence of words, as far as your verb is in the second position, it doesn't really matter. That is not true about English sentences because sequence is very important. I can give you a simple example. That dog bit that man. Now, if I reverse the sequence of this sentence in English, it will become that man bit that dog. That cannot be true in German because German is very strong on dative. As far as you don't change you carry the articles of the subject and object with them, then there can't be any misunderstanding. So you have to be very careful about your construction of English sentence while translating the German. There are two dictionaries which are really useful for technical translations. One is Lingui and one is Leo. I got very good results using these dictionaries. These are available online as well as on your mobile. Apart from that, sometimes I do have to use paper dictionaries, and you should also have paper dictionaries available. Now, I will give you some examples of what are the alternative meanings in colloquial language for some German words. Now, I am covering the fundamental basic machining processes in mechanical engineering industry, like milling, drilling, and turning. Now, if we take the example of milling, it is called Fräsen in German. The colloquial meaning is earthwork or eat hurriedly, whereas technical milling is, of course, milling operation on milling machine. Now, another word is footer. Footer in colloquial language means cattle fodder, but in mechanical engineering, it means lathe chuck. Like I said, milling Fräsen, it's machining on a milling machine, but a non-technical translator may translate it as earthwork or to eat hurriedly. Boring, boron. Boron is to bore someone or to talk incessantly and thereby bore someone. But in mechanical engineering terms, it is making a drill on a drilling machine. So if you don't have the core knowledge, it can be a catastrophe. Same is true about ribbon. It normally means in colloquial language to polish or to grate. But In engineering, it means machining a precise hole. So you see, core knowledge is extremely important, otherwise you are in big trouble. If not, you have to do research about what that word really means pertaining to that domain.